On a quiet Saturday morning in June 2024, in the leafy suburb of Willow Creek, North Carolina, I was out in my backyard, tools in hand, setting up a smart lock system for my pool fence. My name's Miguel Torres, a software engineer with a degree from Georgia Tech, and I'd spent weeks designing this setup to keep my 5-year-old daughter, Sophia, safe from the pool. It was a state-of-the-art system, facial recognition, motion sensors, the works costing me nearly $4,000. Worth every penny to protect my little girl. But as I tightened a bracket, a shadow fell over me. I looked up to see a lanky 17-year-old kid, Ethan Sanders, standing on my grass, arms crossed, looking like he owned the place. "Excuse me, sir," he said, voice dripping with that fake politeness that spells trouble. "You can't install surveillance equipment without HOA approval." I froze, drill in hand, staring at this kid who'd just called me suspicious while trespassing on my property. The audacity was unreal. Before I could respond, he whipped out his phone and dialed 911. I stood there, jaw practically on the ground, as he reported me for unauthorized modifications. Sophia peeked up from her toy tablet, confused, and whispered, "Papa, why's he mad about our pool lock?" What happened next spiraled into a saga that flipped our neighborhood upside down, exposing raw prejudice and delivering justice in ways I never saw coming. I tried to stay calm. "Kid," I said, keeping my voice steady for Sophia's sake, "this is my property, and this lock's to keep my daughter safe. I don't need anyone's permission for that." But Ethan wasn't listening. He was already on the phone with the dispatcher, spinning a tale about a suspicious individual installing questionable devices. The irony was thicker than the summer humidity was committing a crime while reporting me for illegal home improvement. My Ring camera, installed the previous week, caught every word, every smirk, in crystal clear 4K. Ethan even threw in a jab about how people like you might not understand community standards. I bit my tongue to keep from laughing at the absurdity. This kid, who probably never held a job, was lecturing a tech engineer about protocols while standing illegally on my lawn. 15 minutes later, 2 police officers pulled up. Officer Daniels, a no-nonsense guy with a clipboard, took one look at Ethan standing in my yard and asked, "Son, whose property are you on?" Ethan's face cycled through panic and defiance before he mumbled something about ensuring legitimacy. Officer Daniels inspected my smart lock, nodded, and said, "This is a standard child safety device, completely legal." Then he turned to Ethan. "You're trespassing. Step back to the sidewalk, now." Ethan shuffled off, still clutching his phone like a lifeline. That's when his mother, Patricia Sanders, roared up in a silver SUV, striding over in a crisp blazer like she was auditioning for a real estate ad. "Officers," she said, her smile tight, "I'm the HOA president. I'm sure Miguel just didn't know our community's procedures." Her words were polite, but her tone screamed condescension, implying my background made me clueless about proper neighborhood rules. The officers weren't buying it. They issued Ethan a trespassing warning and left, but I knew this was far from over. The harassment kicked into high gear after that. Every morning at 7:30, as the school bus rolled by, Ethan would saunter past my fence, tossing out snide remarks like, "Hope that's all authorized, Miguel." My smart lock system, now fully operational, recorded his every move, time-stamped, GPS tagged, undeniable. Patricia upped the ante with official HOA violation notices, each one dripping with coded racism. One letter read, "Installation methods common in certain communities may not align with our neighborhood's aesthetic standards." I showed it to Sophia over breakfast, and she asked, "Papa, what's wrong with our lock?" How do you explain to a 5-year-old that some people think Latino families can't install safety equipment right? I just said, "Some folks get confused about safety stuff, Mija," and left it at that. Meanwhile, I started noticing a chemical stench wafting from Patricia's garage. My neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, a retiree who'd seen every neighborhood drama since the 90s, spilled the tea. "That woman's been running an unlicensed nail salon out of her garage for months," she said, shaking her head. "Cash only, no permits, but she's got the nerve to question your fence." The hypocrisy was staggering. While Patricia nitpicked my legal installation, she was breaking every zoning and tax law in the book. My system kept catching Ethan's nightly prowls, 2 sneaking around my fence with a flashlight, snapping photos like he was in a spy movie. The motion sensors would flood the yard with light, and he'd bolt like a scared deer, but not before my cameras got his face, clear as day. 3 weeks in, I was installing the final motion sensors when I heard wire cutters clicking behind me. I turned to find Ethan, bold as brass, standing in my yard again, tools in hand. "Just checking if this is secure," he said, like he was doing me a favor. I kept my cool for Sophia, who was splashing in the pool nearby. "Ethan, you're trespassing again, and those cutters suggest vandalism." He didn't blink, just dialed 911 again, claiming I was escalating with unauthorized surveillance. The kid had turned stupidity into performance art, but my system was ready. The tamper alert blared, floodlights snapped on, and the alarm wailed loud enough to rattle windows. Ethan dropped the cutters and stumbled back, still on the phone with the dispatcher, who heard everything the alarm, his panicked breathing, and me calmly telling Sophia the fence was saying hi to our guest. He screamed about my border security system, proving I was up to something illegal. I almost laughed. Border security? It was a pool lock for a kindergartner. The police arrived fast, and Officer Daniels wasn't playing. "Ethan Sanders, we've been here before," he said, eyeing the wire cutters in the grass. My security app showed the whole incident. Ethan's approach, the cutters, his 911 call time stamped and court ready. Officer Daniels shook his head. "Mr. Torres, your system's better than our precincts." They arrested Ethan for trespassing, attempted vandalism, and false reporting. Patricia rushed out in a bathrobe, hair in curlers, and launched into damage control. "Officers, this is a misunderstanding. Some communities have different approaches to security." Her words were a masterclass in veiled racism, implying my Latino heritage made my safety tech suspicious. The officers weren't impressed. They bagged the cutters as evidence and hauled Ethan away. Then things went nuclear. At Sophia's 6th birthday party a week later, Ethan, undeterred, hid in my azalea bushes, snapping photos of kids eating cake. My system flagged him instantly, and when he stepped on a motion sensor, the yard lit up like a rock concert. Alarms screamed, and Ethan shrieked, "He's got a defense perimeter," to the 911 dispatcher on his third call. He described a kid's party as coordination activities by these people. The footage was gold. Ethan, mulch-covered, fleeing while kids clapped at the light show. A parent, Mrs. Larson, posted it online with the caption, "Neighborhood Watch Fail." By morning, it had 500,000 views. Ethan became a global meme, his racist rants roasted in comment sections worldwide. The viral video didn't just humiliate Ethan, it triggered a city investigation into Patricia's shady nail salon. Inspectors swarmed her garage, uncovering irregulatory night merino licenses, no taxes, unsafe conditions, the works. She owed $60,000 in fines and back taxes. Meanwhile, the HOA election saw Patricia ousted by Elena Martinez, a teacher who campaigned on inclusion and tech-driven safety. Patricia's concession speech was a racist word salad about traditional values and cultural misunderstandings, but the neighborhood wasn't buying it. Her support evaporated as Elena's data showed smart tech cut crime by 70% and boosted property values 35%. 6 months later, in December 2024, the story's final twist unfolded. Ethan and Patricia, both in orange vests marked court-ordered, showed up in a community service van. Ethan, now 18, was installing smart locks for low-income families under my supervision, a poetic sentence for his 300 hours of service. He'd changed, his arrogance replaced by calloused hands and halting Spanish as he explained safety tech to a grateful abuela. Patricia, meanwhile, scrubbed toilets at the community center where she once ruled as HOA queen. The irony was delicious. Questioned my permits while running an illegal empire. Sophia swam safely, her friends marveling at the lock's chirpy greetings. My business boomed, with 20 families across 5 neighborhoods signing up for installations. Ethan's viral meltdown became my best marketing. As I watched Patricia load mystery boxes into her car at 2 a.m., dodging inspectors, I couldn't help but wonder, what's she hiding? And why does she look so scared? Ethan's learned his lesson, but will he slip back into old habits? Will Patricia's secrets unravel her completely? Drop a comment. Have you ever caught prejudice on camera? Should Ethan get a second chance, or is his record too stained? Like and subscribe for more stories where justice hits hard.